Hello there, my name's Annette with Sunbeam Fabric Art. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm taking you through a 2-hour quilt that I made with 2 charm packs plus a little bit of extra yardage to make it a little bit wider. This quilt top is super easy, but I will leave all the measurements in the description and the finished size. I took 1/3 of my 5-inch squares and cut them in half to 2.5 by 5 inches. In my case, that was a total of 28 squares that I cut in half, and I had 56 squares left that were 5 inches squared. Once I had those 28 squares cut in half, I simply sat down at the sewing machine and started sewing a 5-inch square to a 2.5 by 5-inch strip, and I chain pieced until they were all done. You might notice that I am shuffling through the fabrics because I don't want my 5-inch square to match my 2.5-inch strip. I want to have a little bit of contrast between the two pieces I'm stitching together. Once I reached the end of the first round, I used my Blade Saver product to separate my chains. Then I started sewing a unit of 2 together with another unit of 2, making sure that my 2.5-inch strips were not right next to each other. I'm also trying to make sure that 2 exact fabrics are not right next to each other. I continued sewing these little strips together until I had 7 long strips. Each of the strips had 8 5-inch squares and 8 2.5-inch by 5-inch strips. Next, I started sewing my strips together, and you can see that there are some seams that are going to match up. I didn't clip them this time. I decided to just wait until I approached the needle, and then I would use my fingers to get those seams nested together and then go ahead and stitch over those seams. If you're a beginner or you want to be a little bit more careful, feel free to use clips or pins or whatever you like to match these seams up. But since these all came from the same charm packs, they're pretty uniform in size, so they did seem to match up very nicely without a lot of extra work. Once I got the 7 strips all stitched together, it wasn't as wide as I would have liked it to be for the quilt top, so I found this navy fabric with some little white dots, and I cut it into 9-inch strips, and I added a 9-inch strip to the right side and a 9-inch strip to the left side. I squared up those corners, and then my quilt top was finished. I think there's a little kid out there somewhere who will love this fishing themed quilt top. Thank you so much for joining me today for this quick and easy project, and I hope to see you back again real soon.